The day Julian Song officially proposed to Jiang Qing, he had me locked in a closet for a whole day and night, afraid I would cause trouble. He said with deep affection, "Qing, don't be afraid. On such an important day I won't let Ivy Jiang disturb us, not in the future either." Friends were all cheering. After all, everyone knew that Ivy Jiang loved Julian Song to death and wouldn't allow anyone to get close to him. What Julian Song didn't know was that Jiang Qing had started a live broadcast, and I watched the whole thing from inside the closet. He didn't know that I didn't care about this confession at all. I got a marriage certificate with someone else. Later I threw everything related to Julian Song into the trash in front of him. Amidst his furious expression, I only left one sentence: bad luck. When I rushed into the private room with the cold medicine. The scene was quite lively. But they weren't cheering for me, they were gloating and jeering. The laughter lasted for several minutes. Jiang Qing sat up from Julian Song's arms, smiling as she took the cold medicine from my hand. Actually, I felt a little dizzy from the wind. There's no one to run errands in the middle of the night, and Julian Song was really worried about me. "I'm really sorry to trouble Miss Jiang. It's raining so hard outside. Look, she's soaked through." I heard someone teasing softly. Even a dog wouldn't be this obedient. Tisk. Various contemptuous gazes intertwined, and my body trembled with cold, but I didn't move my feet. Julian Song sat in the center of the crowd as if he didn't see my embarrassment at all. "Ivy Jiang, this is just a lesson for you today." He pulled Jiang Qing back and said, "I like Qing. If I ever hear you bullying Qing again, relying on your status as grandma's god-granddaughter, don't blame me for issuing a statement and severing your relationship with the Song family." My voice was a little hoarse. "You told me that I was important to you. Grandma thinks you're important. I just don't want to upset her considering her age. You promised me 3 years ago that you would take care of me for the rest of my life. So what? From beginning to end did I ever say I liked you? I really find it absurd. Absurd to the point of laughing out loud." I looked around at the faces of everyone in the room, finally landing back on Julian Song's face. "Julian Song, you never said you liked me. But over the years you've held me, kissed me, driven away my suitors and even said ambiguous things like taking care of me. How do you explain all this?" Julian Song held Jiang Qing's hand, their fingers intertwined. "Holding you was because I treated you like a sister, kissing you was because I was drunk and mistook you for someone else. As for the suitor, they just happened to be my business rival. I used to treat you like a sister, so of course I could take care of you, but now you've touched my bottom line. Qing is my bottom line and I will always be with her. So, don't use any more tricks on my suitors like you used to, it's disgusting." Such a passionate confession. Jiang Qing blushed and threw herself into his arms. "Julian, you're so naughty." They kissed like the prince and princess in a fairy tale, having just won a great victory. The people around them cheered and applauded. I stood at the door, resembling nothing so much as a bitter, defeated villainess making her exit. Julian Song spoke the truth, rebuking my presumptuousness and crushing my fantasies. Every word was like a sledgehammer, smashing down on the boy I had forged in my heart. The truth was deafening. It was all a facade. I haven't seen Julian Song for over a month. I heard he took Jiang Qing back to meet the Song family. I heard he had her move into the private villa in Chiushui Garden. I was in a daze when I heard the news. That was his private territory, and before Jiang Qing I was the only one who had been there. That day Julian Song lost a deal and had a few drinks. And then there was a power outage. I wanted to help him to the bed. Julian Song suddenly hugged me, his lips brushing against my face. Ambiguous and exciting. If it weren't for this, how would I have felt that I was a little different in Julian Song's heart? In the past I would have definitely gone to Grandma Song and made a scene, demanding that Julian Song completely drive away his pursuers. But now I don't have the slightest inclination to do so. I'm very busy. I'm not just Grandma Song's recognized goddaughter, I'm also the only daughter of the Jiang family. I just graduated and am preparing to take over the family business, so I'm extremely busy. One of the deals requires me to fight for it, so I took the documents to meet the client in a private room. Unexpectedly I ran into an acquaintance. "Jiang, are you doing this on purpose?" Jiang Qing, dressed in professional attire, sat among several partners, her skirt slit high up her thigh. I frowned. "You talking to me?" Jiang Qing suddenly burst into tears in front of everyone. Wasn't born with the privilege of living next door to the Song family, And of course I can't get Grandma Song's favor like Ivy Jiang, but it's not my fault that Julian likes me. You're even trying to steal my partners. Are you afraid I'll surpass you in both love and career? The Song family was powerful. As soon as the partner heard this, they immediately understood that Jiang Qing was Julian Song's person. I clutched the documents, knowing without a doubt that this collaboration was likely dead. But Jiang Qing wasn't finished. Julian Song said that over the years, you've stopped at nothing to drive away the women around him. It is indeed painful to love someone who doesn't love you, but matters of the heart cannot be forced, and it's certainly not a reason for you to make things difficult for a girl. Ivy Jiang, did you deliberately come here to steal my client, making Grandma Song think I'm useless? Are you really that malicious? I'm not one to be trifled with either. I immediately pressed the record button on my phone. Slander is against the law, Miss Shin. If you have the guts, say it again. Unexpectedly, Jiang Qing walked up to me and suddenly slapped herself in the face. Ivy Jiang, I'll give you what you want. I can give you the collaboration, you can bully me however you want, but Julian, I love him. I didn't react and took a step back subconsciously. However, the door was kicked open and Julian Song stormed in with a face full of anger. Ivy Jiang, are you looking for death? A shadow loomed and a slap landed mercilessly on my face. My vision went dark and half of my face went numb. The slap knocked me back into the chair, spilling the wine on the table all over me. Julian, what are you doing here? It's not what you think. How dare she hit you? Julian Song gently touched Jiang Qing's face, where a faint, almost invisible handprint remained. He hit my hand even redder than the mark. But Julian Song looked at me with disgust. Ivy Jiang, if you still want to be Grandma's god-granddaughter, kneel down. Julian Song, down and beg Qing for forgiveness. Jiang Qing buried her head in Julian Song's shoulder, sobbing softly. My face was swollen and my waist hit the corner of the table, trembling with pain. Actually, everyone there knew that I didn't hit Jiang Qing. But no one would be willing to hit Julian Song, who was in the middle of a heroic rescue. And Julian Song automatically sentenced me to death. I looked at Julian Song's face and smiled sarcastically. Fine. Julian Song paused. He quickly recovered, a dark look flashing in his eyes. Don't want the Jiang family's business either? So Julian Song is willing to risk everything for a woman, even threatening me with our long-standing business relationship. I straightened up, my hands on my hips, and stared intently at Julian Song. Then I don't want it. I don't want you either. Julian Song frowned, momentarily stung by my gaze. But soon, Jiang Qing's soft voice rang in his ears. Never mind, Julian. Miss Jiang has the temper of a young lady, I don't mind. Julian Song then cast aside all strangeness, lifted her up by the waist as if she were a fragile and rare treasure. Ivy Jiang, don't think that just because you're no longer Grandma's god-granddaughter, there's any possibility between us. You bullying Qing will only make me more disgusted with you. Don't even think about complaining to Grandma again. This time I know what I want. He gloriously exited with his beautiful wife. The people in the private room also dispersed, realizing it was no longer interesting. I drank one glass after another alone, and threw up until I was dizzy and disoriented. From lucidity to depravity and back to lucidity. This is my self-punishment for more than a decade of foolish past. After tonight, the rotten seed planted in my heart will be uprooted. Julian Song, who finally knows what he wants, begins to fulfill his promise. His revenge begins against the Jiang family, against me. He cut off all business with the Jiang family and transferred all partners to Jiang Qing's company. Even though it was just a new company that Jiang Qing had signed less than a month ago. Jiang Qing began to frequent public places with Julian Song. Julian Song admitted she was his girlfriend. I don't actively seek attention, but news is always brought to me by those who care. In the past, for formal occasions, CO Julian Song would always call me over with a look of impatience. He needed a female companion who could hold her own and be obedient. I once harbored delusions because of this special treatment, even though there were no words of love spoken. I also defaulted to this unspoken relationship. That's why I felt jealous when there were other women around him. Julian Song has never denied these things. But now they are just gossip I hear in my spare time. I took a sip of coffee, bitter and invigorating. The man sitting across from me chuckled softly. I told you Miss Jiang wouldn't be used to it. Let's get her juice instead. So, are you really not going to consider my suggestion? Are perfect for marriage. My parents had me late in life, giving birth to me at the advanced age of 40. Grandma Song and my mom are close friends despite their age difference, and our families have been neighbors for 2 generations. Julian Song's parents traveled around the world non-stop doing business, and later died in a plane crash. Grandma Song took over the Shao family again. Julian Song was often entrusted to my parents. Julian Song and I are childhood sweethearts. Later, Grandma Song simply recognized me as her god-granddaughter, secretly hoping that I would be her granddaughter-in-law. My parents were actually not very willing. Julian Song was a left-behind child, proud and sensitive with a strong sense of self-esteem since he was little. Later, after his parents died, he became even more sensitive. But I really liked him at that time, so my parents didn't raise any objections. But Julian Song's campaign against the Jiang family was so huge that it was hard for my parents not to notice. I knew he was no good. Unexpectedly, my parents were more happy than anything. There are plenty of men out there, kick him to the curb if you don't like him. I didn't mention that Julian Song slapped me. Knowing my dad's temper, I was afraid he'd rush over and beat Julian Song's mouth to a pulp. It's not that I'm worried about Julian Song, it's just that my dad is almost 70, and getting too excited isn't good for him. My mom mysteriously made a phone call in the room and then came out full of excitement. Hey, Mom and Dad have actually been keeping something from you. You have a fiancé in Kyoto. I almost choked. What? We saw you were really into Julian Song before, so we put it off. Speaking of this fiancé, my parents' faces were filled with a satisfaction towards Julian Song that they had never shown before. Actually, I have no interest in getting married. But I know that, though my parents don't say it, the Jiang family has been affected by Julian Song's suppression. It seems my fiancé has quite a bit of wealth. Of course, my parents didn't want to sell me. They always prioritized my preferences. But they are getting old and they raised me. I can't let the Jiang family be ruined in my hands. The entire high circle is waiting to see me make a fool of myself. After all, I have been the only woman by Julian Song's side for all these years. They all hope that I lose in love and suffer a complete defeat in the business world as well. I don't want them to succeed. My parents' praise for that fiancé still echoed in my ears. I once thought I would never accept any man other than Julian Song. But the moment had really arrived. Sitting here discussing marriage with someone else. I just realized. It's really just like this. I wasn't losing my mind over Julian Song. Life goes on. Love can last a long time. But not loving Julian Song can happen in an instant. Song Mingmei rushed into my office in a flurry. Your cousin is going to propose to Jiang Qing. What are you doing? What am I doing? I lowered my head and looked at the bento in my hand, the voice from my phone still going on. It takes 2.5 hours to fly from Kyoto to Haicheng. So you thought this bento was delicious and sent someone on a special flight to deliver it? I was even more surprised to learn that Zhou Jingshi was my fiancé. The Zhou family is in Kyoto, equivalent to 10 Song families in Haicheng. I had heard of Zhou Jingshi's name long ago, but most people described him as resolute and vigorous. The man with the face of a typical CEO, but a beaming smile flashed through my mind. Doesn't really match. What bento? What time is it? Who are you calling? What bento are you eating? Song Mingmei was yelling and I leaned back slightly. Zhou Jingshi's voice sounded deep and magnetic on the other end of the phone. Got it, fiancé. I'll personally deliver it next time. The voice was inexplicably sticky, making my ears itch. That's not what I meant. I'll hang up first and call you back later. I confessed my past to Zhou Jingshi. Including my relationship with the Song family, including the many years I liked Julian Song, but to no avail. And the reason I came out to meet him was because the Jiang family's business needed the help of the Zhou family. Zhou Jing wasn't surprised at all. He analyzed the current malpractices for me, suggested that the Jiang family's industry should transform, inject capital, and even came up with a plan. The premise is that our engagement remains the same. I really had no reason to refuse. So he had another meal with my parents. And they officially settled on the engagement. He seems to have a natural ability to please elders. My mom already started referring to him as her son-in-law all the time, and even my dad's white beard seemed to regain some of its color. But what I mean is, before the Jiang family is stable, don't make the engagement public for the time being. Zhou Jingshi agreed as well. Only before leaving Haicheng he put a necklace around my neck. A plain chain with a rose pendant, a style I had never seen before. Consider it an engagement gift. I dropped my phone. Song Mingmei sat down across from me. Ivy Jiang, tomorrow night at 8 p.m., top floor of the Song Corporation building, the proposal begins. Don't say I didn't tell you. Are you planning to do? Are you going to fake a suicide to trick my brother into coming out, or are you going to ask grandma to step in? I'm getting off work. You leaving work early to prepare? This is a big operation this time. To prepare? I looked at her calmly. Mingmei, are you encouraging an outsider to fake a suicide, cause a death and ruin your cousin's proposal ceremony? You hate that much? Song Mingmei choked, finally noticing that something was off with me. Jiang, has my cousin driven you crazy? No, you're trying to play hard to get to attract my brother's attention, but once you're engaged it's not so easy to change. I wish him a lifelong marriage, turning into butterflies together. Song Mingmei almost jumped up. Keep being stubborn. I've delivered the message. It's up to you whether you come or not. I was so angry I laughed and picked up the phone on the desk. Song Mingmei thought I finally couldn't bear it anymore with an "I knew it" expression on her face. Send 2 security guards. If you let stray dogs in again you don't need to come in yourselves. Ivy Jiang. Julian Song drank a whole bottle of red wine tonight. The living room is very lively. To propose to Jiang Qing, his friends are busily decorating the venue. Song Mingmei made a big commotion coming in. He knew where she had gone. But he didn't stop her. Recently he has indeed been a bit infatuated with Jiang Qing, and Ivy Jiang insists on throwing herself at him. So when she makes a scene tomorrow he will go along with her. Originally this proposal was also prepared for her. Marry Jiang Qing? Not necessarily. It's just that when a woman thinks he's fallen for her, she tends to be very obedient. But after being obedient for too long, she becomes no different from other women. Ivy Jiang always completes her tasks very well. Whether it's finding grandma or having Song Mingmei threaten and intimidate. In short, everyone will disappear without a trace. He had a lot less trouble. He was a little surprised that Song Mingmei came back so early. In the past they would have spent a long time planning how to ruin this proposal. Ivy Jiang has held back from coming to him for so long. This time she will definitely cry and beg him not to fall in love with someone else. Cousin Ivy Jiang is so broken she's even cursing people. She must be madly in love with you. What if she really uses some method of threatening suicide to sabotage things? Would you fall for it? Damn, no wonder I haven't seen her for a month. So she was planning something big? Suicide for love. Songyi is really something. Julian Song put down his glass, feeling a bit of a headache. Ivy Jiang really committed suicide. Grandma will definitely cut off his card again. It's always been like this since I was little, no matter the reason. As long as Ivy Jiang cried, Grandma would always assume it was his fault. It was as if she was the real granddaughter. Just as he was about to say something, someone muttered in a low voice. Didn't I hear that the Jiang family recently announced they were going to have a marriage alliance? Song Mingmei looked disgusted. Didn't Ivy Jiang already use this trick, deliberately announcing the news of a marriage alliance with her cousin, trying to get her cousin to admit she was his girlfriend by making a mistake? Why are they still using it? The person scratched their head, unable to quite recall. It the Song family. Julian Song cut him off. Sure enough, it was still Ivy Jiang who loved him to death, only capable of such a stupid method. Before he could finish speaking, someone clung to the French window and shouted excitedly. Look, look, it's Ivy Jiang, she's downstairs, she's coming in. Oh my god, it's a showdown. Julian Song frowned. Too early, he had a candlelight dinner with Jiang Qing planned for tonight. Consider it the last bang before we break up tomorrow. So his voice deepened. Stop her. Don't let unlucky people ruin my proposal. Song Mingmei watched the group of people being coaxed out, but Julian Song didn't even bat an eyelid, which was a bit unexpected. Cousin, don't you really like Ivy Jiang at all? Even she sometimes couldn't stand the behavior of Julian Song's group of friends. Before, out of respect for Julian Song, they were somewhat considerate of Ivy Jiang. Those people don't know what methods they will use to stop Ivy Jiang. Julian Song seemed to have thought of something, frowned, but said. Brought it on herself. Song Mingmei finally smiled. I knew it, chasing after someone relentlessly just makes you seem cheap. Jiang Qing does have some tricks up her sleeve, playing hard to get and keeping you on the hook for so many days. You'll definitely get her tonight, right? It's not that she looks down on Ivy Jiang. It's just that a family like the Songs needs a woman with brains and skills to be the lady of the house. Ivy Jiang only knows how to fawn over her cousin, shameless and demeaning herself. She's simply not qualified. That's why she deliberately sent the message wanting Ivy Jiang to do something stupid and make a fool of herself. This made Julian Song feel a surge of smug satisfaction, and he waved his hand. Alright, go keep an eye on things, don't let it get out of hand and disturb Ching Ching. For a man, getting someone into bed is like winning a battle. And the woman he sleeps with is just one of the spoils left on the battlefield. It wouldn't be a big deal to coax Ivy Jiang after he wins over Shen Qing. You still care about her. Song Mingmei was a little confused for a moment. To make her give up, you have to be ruthless and make her lose face. Otherwise she will keep pestering you. Right. Hearing the word give up, Julian Song felt a little stung. Just do as I say. He just felt that since childhood Ivy Jiang had always been by his side. A little annoyed. When she was little Ivy Jiang looked soft and cute like a dumpling. Following behind him like a little tail, she was the envy of many children. He didn't used to be so annoyed by her. When did it start? Right, it started after entering high school. He grew taller and besides the boys around him there were girls too. The first was the literature and art representative in the class, tall, fair-skinned and very aloof. But he was the only boy she allowed to get close. For this, the group of brothers around him were incredibly envious. What about Ivy Jiang? At that time she seemed to be short and had a chubby face. Always smiling at him, couldn't chase him away even if we tried. Once at a sports meet, he won first place in the 3,000-meter race. The arts and entertainment representative presented him with water in front of the entire school. The entire playground's focus seemed to be on the two of them. In his moment of glory, Ivy Jiang arrived. She climbed onto the stage wearing a bulky red wolf costume, and whacked him over the head with a crudely made frying pan in front of the whole school. The room burst into laughter. But she looked completely innocent. Even the student representative of art and literature laughed. Julian Song, how old are you? Played house with Ivy Jiang. Julian Song shook his head. Why did I think of that humiliating history again? Bad luck. Seeing that Song Mingmei was still looking at him, he lost his head. Don't let me see her tomorrow. When Jiang Qing blocked me with his men. Just finished signing the contract with the client and was about to leave. Ivy Jiang, how can you be so shameless? And you wanted to ruin Sister Ching Ching's proposal ceremony. How vicious. I went over it again and again in my mind. I didn't remember where Song Mingmei said the address was at all. What a coincidence. Jiang Qing was surrounded by people, wearing her standard white dress, her eyes red. Everyone, don't say that. Maybe Ivy is just here to bless Julian and me. After all, she and Julian grew up together. What childhood sweethearts. It's clearly her pestering him. Julian himself said he didn't want her to ruin the proposal, he never even cared about her. Singing in harmony, anyone who didn't know would really think I was the vicious villain here to ruin the perfect ending for the main couple. I spread out the documents in my hand. I didn't even know you guys were here, nor do I care to know. I lifted my leg to leave but they wouldn't let me. Still denying it just as Julian said, shameless. Ching Ching, don't be soft-hearted. Who knows what kind of bad ideas a scheming woman like her is plotting. Hold her down. Jiang Qing stammered while the others were eager to try. I was pushed back into the private room, stumbled and my phone fell out of my pocket. Someone kicked it away before I could reach it. My expression turned cold and I considered calling the police. Out of here. But the way I looked at it in their eyes seemed like I was flying into a rage out of humiliation. So they were extremely excited. There were too many people, I couldn't dodge them at all. The second I was shoved into the closet. Through the crack I saw Jiang Qing standing behind the crowd. Hands on her hips, posture haughty, watching me smugly. I clenched my fists, trying hard to stay calm. What you're doing is illegal, I will hold each and every one of you responsible. I'll say it again, I have absolutely no interest in who Julian Song marries. Let me out. Perhaps my tone was too cold. But Jiang Qing was sobbing behind. What are you all doing? I'll call Julian, don't go too far. The call was answered after 3 seconds. Julian, we found Miss Jiang but she's a bit emotional, things are a little chaotic here. Making trouble again? Don't bother telling me, tell her to get lost. Is that really okay? It's fine, she deserves it. The phone was hung up. I heard it clearly too. Very good. There's a call record. Julian Song can also be held accountable. That's hilarious. Did you hear that? Julian said to get her out of here. Lock her up. We'll release her after the proposal tomorrow. Don't give her a chance to cause trouble. The cabinet locked. I fell into darkness. But soon footsteps returned. In that crack suddenly there was a mobile phone plugged into a charger. The mobile phone was showing a live broadcast. The screen showed flowers, balloons and 6 striking characters. Ting marry me. Pfft. I'm not surprised at all that he would do this. There was only a sliver of light. They left. Show's top 10 enterprises review. President unmarried, not approved. My reaction at the time was similar to yours. Too hasty. My first reaction was, of course, to refuse. But Zhou Jingshi didn't force it and still actively promoted the blind date. So later it turned into an engagement. Even now thinking of that scene, I still feel absurd. But now, the scene seems even more absurd. I've kept the marriage certificate for you. Someone will come to move things tonight. Zhou Jing started the car and suddenly looked up at the rearview mirror. Also, hopefully next time Mrs. Zhou won't subconsciously sit in the back seat again. After all, no one's wife doesn't sit in the passenger seat, right? Me. Sorry, I didn't switch gears for a moment there. Mainly because I took a taxi here. Who knew getting the marriage certificate would be so quick? Less than half an hour. I'm actually married now. I quickly sat back in the passenger seat. Right, what did you mean by moving? The Zhou Corporation headquarters are in Kyoto. Zhou Jingshi's assets are spread all over the country. I have no plans to live apart. Zhou Jingshi returned to his smiling demeanor from their first meeting. He wore a dark cyan turtleneck sweater today, looking lazy and relaxed. Just now when we went in to get our marriage certificate, heads were turning everywhere. I haven't transitioned from unmarried to married yet. Zhou Jingshi rested his arm on the steering wheel and turned his head slightly. Mrs. Zhou. My ears started itching again and I unconsciously reached for them. It only then dawned on me that the parents he was talking about were my parents. It's nothing. By the way, I haven't met your parents yet. Zhou Jing tapped the steering wheel with his fingers, looking nonchalant. They are abroad all year round and don't interfere with my affairs. You can pretend they don't exist. Zhou Jingshi, on the other hand, adapted very quickly. Zhou's intends to expand the business to Haiqing, and the company has been established there for a few months. Besides, Mom and Dad are more accustomed to life in Haiqing. Any other questions? I had never seen anyone mention their parents so nonchalantly. Zhou Jingshi even quipped humorously. So you don't have to worry about conflicts with your mother-in-law when you marry me. Zhou Jingshi's parents had not appeared at the engagement. However, they sent many valuable gifts in their name. My parents seemed to be deliberately vague about this. They only said that Zhou Jingshi had no affinity with his parents and nothing else. I subconsciously didn't want to delve deeper and quickly changed the subject. Then you can give me an address when you move if there's anything you need help with. Mrs. Zhou. Huh. You seem to have misunderstood me. Huh. Although the Zhou family has settled in High City, I've been staying in hotel suites until now. So, the moving your husband mentioned means moving into your house. Jiang Qing has been feeling a bit irritable lately. Ever since the proposal, she's felt that Julian Song has been acting a little strange. The proposal happened. But Julian Song looked at the door several times that day. Until the wedding ring was handed to him and he was pushed onto the stage. His eyes were still fixed on the door. Everyone was happy after stepping off the stage. Many people came to congratulate and fawn over her. But Julian Song, sitting in the host seat, frowned the whole time. He wasn't as happy as she thought he would be. He saw it. And she had said it when she was moved. Hoping that Julian Song would propose in a white suit. Ivy Jiang once made a wish in public at her 18th birthday party. She hoped that her Prince Charming would propose to her in a white suit. Julian Song heard this clearly and nodded in agreement. Even though they were in bed. But on the day of the proposal he only wore a blue and white suit. This slight difference ruined half of her good mood. It wasn't until everyone had dispersed that she turned around. And saw Julian Song finding Song Mingmei. Where is she? Didn't you say you were going to stop her? No, I'm asking where is she? Had someone kick her out, how would I know where she went? That's impossible. With her personality she would definitely find a way to sneak in. Song Mingmei looked suspicious. Cousin, do you want her to come or not? He was the one who gave the order. Now that she really didn't come, he's acting like this again. Julian Song didn't look too happy. Of course she's not coming. There you have it. Oh come on cousin, she's just a simp, why do you care if she comes or not? Jiang Qing was separated by a door. I happened to see Julian Song's expression in the full-length mirror inside. That was definitely not the expression of someone who was completely indifferent to Ivy Jiang. Even though the wedding ring was already on his finger. Jiang Qing couldn't help but feel grateful. Not bad. Good thing she had someone block Ivy Jiang. Otherwise, if she had really come to the proposal. Jiang Qing was immediately startled by her own thought. The next day after calming down, she dressed up and attended the cocktail party hosted by Julian Song. She needed to change her attitude towards Julian Song. Julian Song was someone she had to keep in her grasp. Julian Song, however, remained absent-minded. Even when her leg brushed against him intentionally or unintentionally. Crap, Ivy Jiang got married. The venue was quiet for a moment. Then it exploded. Wait, you must have seen the wrong person? Ivy Jiang? That Ivy Jiang who was head over heels for Julian. Who is she marrying? She's probably marrying Julian in her dreams. Jiang Qing subconsciously glanced towards the bathroom. The door opened but no one came out. The person who spread the news quickly followed up with a barrage of messages. It's true, she posted wedding photos on her moments. The guy has a watermark, who is he? Jiang Qing saw the bathroom door shake slightly. I knew it, it's definitely photoshopped, she doesn't even dare to show her face. This trick is so old. Wait, she deleted her moments. I told you. Everyone burst into laughter. Julian Song came out. Ah, Julian, what's wrong? Jiang Qing quickly went up to greet him. Julian Song's expression improved slightly, but he didn't respond to her immediately. Instead, he glanced at the person who had spoken. Making a fuss over nothing. Did he not know what kind of person Ivy Jiang was? Playing hard to get. Julian Song's mood, which had been gloomy all night, suddenly cleared like dispersing clouds. Sent and then deleted. Wasn't it just to get his attention? Although I don't know why he didn't show up on the proposal day. He must have gone somewhere to cry. He probed Grandma a little. Grandma still doesn't know. This time she was obedient. She didn't dare to make a single phone call to him. This time he'll just have to bring himself to call her. Wait, she posted another one without a watermark. Holy crap, they really got married. Zhou Jingshi, it's actually Zhou Jingshi. This time the place exploded even more than before. The wedding photo was just projected onto the big screen, and I didn't have time to turn it off. So this time when I opened Moments, a large image was displayed. The huge, bright red marriage certificate instantly lit up the room with a red glow. Turn the page. The red stamp stands out prominently. The most eye-catching thing is still the wedding photo. The girl is wearing a lotus root pink fleece sweatshirt. The man wore a loose-fitting dark bluish-gray sweater. Ivy Jiang smiled sweetly, standing obediently beside Zhou Jingshi. The two had a matching temperament, a match made in heaven. Especially Zhou Jingshi. Everyone present who knew Zhou Jingshi was astonished. This person smiling with such tenderness. Was this really Zhou Jingshi, the decisive and ruthless businessman? However soon, all eyes were unconsciously focused on one person. Julian Song was sitting in the very center. The huge wedding photo was clearly visible. The red light shone on his face. Jiang Qing, who was beside them, got goosebumps. Julian Song was just about to take the wine glass from her hand. The instant the big screen lit up, the wine glass shattered in response. Julian Song didn't even notice the shards cutting her wrist. However, Julian Song had just stood up. Suddenly the door was pushed open. Several men in uniform walked in. Is this Julian Song? You are suspected of an illegal detention case. Please come with us. Julian Song requested to see me. I'm not surprised. The crime of illegal detention is definitely established. So the police easily found the call records and reconstructed what happened. Just right. When Zhou Jingshi found me, it had been a full 24 hours since I was locked in the closet. Therefore I will hold everyone present that day accountable. But I didn't see Julian Song. I will not accept any settlement. I hope the police officer will handle this officially. It's just that there were many people present, and apart from the few who actually laid hands on me, the others were only fined. A slap on the wrist. Lian Jiangqing can only be considered an accomplice. The same goes for Julian Song. But he doesn't seem to accept merely being held jointly liable. I didn't agree to a meeting, nor did I answer his calls. He actually found the building where my company is. But I called ahead so he can't get in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window. I looked down. Julian Song's angry appearance is blurry. His figure is as small as an ant. When I was a child, I was relatively thin and Julian Song wasn't very tall either. Over the phone I stated my position. But the street kids bullied me and he always stood in front of me. I regarded him as a brother, as a hero, and later, in my youthful ignorance, once loved him as a lover. Now that figure no longer stirs my emotions. But I didn't expect him to call me on my phone with a different number. Jung, are you looking for death? Was just joking with you, they're all my friends. Actually dared to call the police? You want to piss me off, fine, you've succeeded. Julian Song seemed furious and scolded me. After a pause he suddenly changed the subject. What's with the wedding photo? You should at least recognize the person you're photoshopping. You even know who you're pining for? Zhou Jingshi? He'd never look at you. You grow up a little. I quietly listened to the voice on the phone. I could almost see Julian Song's expression on the other end. Until only his heavy breathing remained. Have you finished speaking? I took a deep breath. Julian Song paused, but before he could speak I continued. Song, do you know what kind of cabinet I was locked in? Cabinet in the private room is for storing odds and ends. It's small and cramped. Had to hunch over, curling up like a ball just to breathe. That bone-chilling darkness seemed as if a beast's claw could reach out from the shadows at any moment. I even felt relieved that Jiang Qing had left a phone behind. In the endless darkness I could still see a faint glimmer of light. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my tone calm. I've been inside for 26 hours. You know, I almost died from lack of oxygen. As soon as those words were spoken, Julian Song fell silent. After a long while his voice finally spoke again. Let you bully Qing before? This time it's even. You shouldn't have called the police. I know it's a waste of time talking to him. This feels ironic. Julian Song and I have known each other for over 20 years. 20 years, you know. Isn't that enough for him to know what kind of person I am? Although I care about the women around him. But wasn't it always him hinting that he wanted to break up? Complaining to me again about how they're clinging to him. I would only find my grandmother taking action. Shut up. I cut him off, my tone completely cold. Song, have I ever told you? You're really despicable. At 1001 hashtag remember I already deleted you, and as for where you saw my moments, that's none of my business. Calling me. Having liked you is truly my darkest record. I hung up the phone directly. Soon another call I couldn't refuse came in. Song. Compared to Julian Song, Grandma Song has never treated me badly in any way. These past few months she's been abroad handling official matters. Otherwise Julian Song wouldn't have been so reckless. Qiang, Grandma is back in the country, come quickly to welcome her. Okay. I called Zhou Jingshi again and explained the situation. So, it might not be convenient to move tonight. How about tomorrow or another time? Zhou Jingshi let out a soft laugh on the other end of the phone. You don't have to be so careful. I'm not that desperate either. My face feels a bit hot. Only my parents call me by my nickname. Julian Song called me that when he was little too. It's just an ordinary nickname really. I don't know why Zhou Jingshi suddenly shouted. Plus the second half of the sentence. Why does it feel a bit flirtatious? Give my regards to Director Song for me. I was taken aback. Aren't you going? Zhou Jingshi clearly paused for a moment. I silently made a breathing gesture and said formally, Grandma Song is like a real grandmother to me. I was thinking. You go with me to welcome her as her granddaughter's husband? Grandma Song is a good friend of my parents. No matter what my relationship with Julian Song is, their friendship will not change. I don't intend to become distant from Grandma Song because of Julian Song. Zhou Jingshi and I have already obtained our marriage certificate. Before getting the certificate I asked him again. I don't have any romantic feelings for him at the moment. Getting married was a good deal for me after all, the Jiang family gained a lot from it. Let's assume his reasons are genuine. So both sides reached a cooperation driven by mutual interests. Zhou Jingshi listened, unable to describe the expression on his face. But we still became husband and wife. Since that's the case, I won't be dishonest with him. Introducing the family members around me to him is only right. On the other end of the phone I heard Zhou Jingshi give a soft hum. Seems like he's always in a good mood. No need, you haven't seen each other in a long time, spend some time talking with the elderly. I'll pay a formal visit to Grandma. Did he really just call her Grandma so naturally? I also unconsciously let out a breath. It's better that he refused. I need to think carefully about how to introduce this sudden husband to Grandma Song. Grandma Song travels all over the place and rarely comes back. This time upon seeing me, she planted her cane firmly into the floor. Grandma Song, a formidable figure in the business world, still commands an imposing presence despite her age. I walked over about to speak, but Grandma Song beat me to it. She dropped her cane and rushed forward to embrace me. Really, Mrs. Jiang? Little girl, you didn't say a word even when you were wronged. You grown distant from Grandma? My nose tingled with emotion. Slapped by Julian Song. Didn't feel wronged when targeted by the Jiang family. Didn't feel wronged when locked in a cabinet and nearly suffocated. But now Grandma Song's embrace makes me want to cry. I admit it. To let go of someone I've loved for over 10 years. It hurts. I don't want my parents to worry. But no one knows, so I decided to go on a blind date with a stranger. How much courage does it take? And what struggles followed? For me, I was just lucky. My parents are also happy about it. If not Zhou Jingshi, there would be Li Jingshi, Wang Jingshi. From beginning to end, what I needed was to save the Jiang family. So I abandoned my marriage. But Grandma Song's embrace let me know. She understood my panic. I feel helpless seeing the Jiang family being targeted. I'm also angry that the client was taken away. Deciding to marry Zhou Jingshi, whose character and aura I knew nothing about. I didn't experience the heart-fluttering moment of being saved by a hero. Zhou Jingshi is a good match for marriage. My cleanliness obsession is emotional and it's quite severe. I can't stand strangers getting too close to me. Grandma Song knew about it long ago. Back then, she brought Julian Song in front of me and made him call me sister. Song should take good care of Yao Yao. We should let Julian Song and I build a relationship early on. Who knew it would turn out like this? I suddenly realized the deep attachment I once had for Julian Song. Could it also be partly because I couldn't bear to let go of Grandma Song? Grandma Song already knew the whole story before she arrived. In fact, she had cut her trip short and returned specifically for this reason. I tried to recount those days as calmly as possible. If I don't beat this kid for 3 days, he'll get himself killed. Grandma immediately cancel his card. Mom too, she didn't even let anyone tell Grandma about such a big thing. If it weren't for the partnership breakdown affecting the branch, I wouldn't have known. I knew Julian Song would definitely keep all of this from Grandma Song. Okay Grandma, it's just a small matter. Song Wanrong's face darkened at once. She knew her grandson would eventually cause trouble. He used to behave himself when she was around. But judging from Zhang's reaction this time, she didn't seem as concerned as before. Her best friend's precious child is really going to fly this time. Zhang, you really? I knew what Grandma Song was going to say and I took her hand. Yes Grandma, I'm married. After saying that, he took out the wedding photo and showed it to her. Look, isn't he handsome? Next time I'll bring him to visit you specially. Grandma Song kept sighing. What's the point of being handsome? Julian Song, that brat is just as useless. Grandma is just afraid you'll be hurt. After all, you got married so hastily, your mom probably just found out, right? Song Wanrong felt deeply regretful. Why didn't I come back 1 day earlier? If he returns 1 day earlier, the Jiang family will be out of danger, and there will be no need to force Zhang's daughter into an arranged marriage. Julian, that brat Song, Grandma understands, he just doesn't know his own feelings for a while. Maybe Grandma will go. I interrupted her. Grandma, no need. Grandma wasn't sad because I didn't marry Julian Song. She just simply hopes that I marry someone I love. I'm very happy. At least. My affection for Grandma Song is worth it. I smiled at Grandma Song. Grandma, I no longer like Julian Song. Bang. Julian Song slammed his hand against the door, startling us. He was breathing heavily as if rushing back in a great hurry. A smell of alcohol wafted in. I remembered what the lawyer had told me. Julian Song and his group were taken back by the police for investigation at the bar. Looks like they were celebrating after a successful marriage proposal. Song, are you trying to rebel? He's ruined a perfectly good granddaughter-in-law. Song Wanrong really can't stand to even look at her own grandson. But Julian Song stared at me intently. I lightly brushed it off. Grandma, then I'll head back first. I'll come with my parents for the welcome dinner tonight. Song Wanrong instantly became all smiles. Good, I won't let this brat come, Jiang, you can rest assured. I don't really care whether you come or not. Julian Song's expression seemed rather grim. Probably because he had just been arrested as a suspect. I walked past him and had barely stepped out of the yard when Julian Song actually caught up to me. He roughly grabbed my wrist. I instinctively shook him off, my tone somewhat harsh. Don't touch me. Julian Song was momentarily stunned. His heart tightened. He knew Ivy Jiang. Growing up, she hadn't been free from harassment by some little boys. He was always the one responsible for driving them away. Sometimes, if he didn't arrive in time, she would raise the spines on her body and glare at them with such a look. Wait, don't touch me. No. How could she treat me like this? Julian Song felt inexplicably annoyed. Jiang, enough with the pretense. How long are you going to keep this up? Do you mean you don't like me anymore? Explain yourself. He asked without changing expression. I really want to dig into Julian Song's brain and see what's inside. Julian Song, are you sick? Since a few months ago you've been acting like a madman. I came here with good intentions to bring you medicine, but you're the one who's lost your humanity. Told me to stay away from you, and I remember that after that I never came to see you again, right? Support your little lover. You made things difficult for the Jiang family, slapped me in public and said all those lofty-sounding things. Kind of confidence makes you say I'm just pretending here? What's so strange about me not liking you? You who's crazy for liking me, right? I really didn't know that going from liking someone to hating them could take just a few short months. Now seeing Julian Song, I truly only feel disgust. You're angry with me because of Jiang Qing? Julian Song finally seemed to understand. A fleeting fling, you're over it. You're playing hard to get again and pretending to marry someone else, isn't it all because of Jiang Qing? Broke up with her, okay? Me. It's utterly impossible to communicate. Julian Song kept talking to himself. I've been in relationships before and I've never seen you act like this. Admit Jiang Qing is a bit special, she's truly my ideal type. You're going to say you don't like me just because of that? Your affection that cheap? Maybe you don't like me as much as you said you did? Julian Song suddenly stopped. I watched him quietly. I knew he read it in my eyes. I don't care who he likes. When he troubles Jiang, treat him as an enemy. I don't care who he proposes to. No longer keeping a safe distance from him. Reject him. Yes. It's all because of that. I don't like you that much either. This realization made Julian Song's heart suddenly contract. That unbearable feeling, neither going up nor down, made him even more agitated. Anger flared in his eyes. Then who do you like? Zhou Jingshi. Didn't you hate arranged marriages the most? You married him just because of me, right? Regarding Jiang, I'll take it back right now. My gaze grew colder. Julian Song's voice grew quieter. He seemed to finally realize something. He started shaking his head. I just wanted to get some revenge for Jiang Qing. A delicate beauty wept bitterly, her face wet with tears, complaining piteously that she had been wronged. Any man would be moved by such a sight. At first he had only intended to put a little pressure on Jiang's business. But later he became so entranced by Jiang Qing's tender affection that he forgot all about it. Seeing Julian Song like this, I only feel irony and speechlessness. Julian Song, you don't need to come to me again boasting about your tale of spending a fortune to win a beauty's smile. I watched your marriage proposal live stream in full. It was very romantic. I wish you both a happy and lasting union. Ducks turn into butterflies. Julian Song's eyes lit up. Watch the live stream. Clearly care. I rolled my eyes. You're overthinking it. I meant to wish you both an early death and early rebirth. I said they were just joking around. Julian Song, however, stubbornly insisted that I was actually bothered. Jiang, I just proposed. You keep making a scene, you know I'll take the next step. Don't regret it when the time comes. I said it lightly. At the welcome banquet, Julian Song indeed didn't show up. So we had a pleasant meal with Grandma Song. As I was leaving, Grandma Song still held my hand. She drank 2 cups, got a little drunk and insisted on giving me the family bracelet. Of course I won't accept it. My mother couldn't rest easy, so she stayed to take care of her. My father and I sat in the car going back. Zhou Jingshi. The old man had been holding it in all night, and when he saw that red booklet he fell into a long silence. Marrying me off only when he was nearly 70, His heart was filled with endless emotions. I comforted him. Anyway, we're going to get married eventually, so getting the certificate early doesn't matter much. I'm actually relieved about that, kid, but... My dad stared at the wedding photo, then suddenly scratched his head. I didn't notice before, but now that I'm looking again, I feel like I've seen this kid somewhere before. Is that so? I also stared at it for a while. I don't know if it was influenced by my dad, but the more I looked, the more familiar it seemed. But I really couldn't remember. How could someone as exceptional as Zhou Jingshi not leave an impression when I saw him? It must be an illusion. In the evening, I returned to my apartment, thinking that Zhou Jingshi was about to move in soon. I've decided to declutter and free up some space. This cleaning turned up so many things from my childhood. Most of them were related to Julian Song. Before I turned 16, Julian Song always made gifts for me by hand. Later it changed to bought scarves, perfumes or handbags. A fixed store, a fixed classic style. I never dared to use it, so I kept it as a treasure. Hiding it away, it eventually became unusable. I packed everything up. I sent a package with the delivery address marked as Julian Song's private residence. Maybe Julian Song never truly liked me, but I once truly loved him. My sincerity was precious, but he wasn't worth it. He can discard and trample on others' sincerity at will. I'm not like him. Julian Song has been constantly hearing news about Ivy Jiang from Song Mingmei these past few days. The wedding is next month, isn't that too rushed? Zhou Jingshi actually bought the tallest building in Haicheng? Bad luck did Ivy Jiang have? Song Mingmei was very angry, because she had always thought Ivy Jiang was unfit to be a wealthy lady. The Zhou family is even wealthier than the Song family. This is truly embarrassing. So she paid extra attention to Ivy Jiang's movements. Julian Song asked Song Mingmei how she knew about this. Best friend told her. I had to go around in circles before finding out from a friend of her best friend's colleague. Did she get a best friend? Julian Song's mind was a complete mess. There was a sense of helplessness, as if he couldn't grasp anything. Wasn't Ivy Jiang always the one who revolved around him? How could he not know she had other best friends? Even Song Mingmei couldn't stand it anymore. Big brother, although I also dislike Ivy Jiang, you're taking it too far. Her best friend is a classmate she's known since middle school. Aren't you from the same school? Could he not even know what friends Ivy Jiang has? Julian Song's head was buzzing. Muffled music drifted from outside the private room, like the dull rumble in his chest. Song Mingmei picked up her bag and was about to leave. As his hand touched the doorknob, a soft murmur suddenly came from behind. Don't hate her. Said, I don't hate Ivy Jiang. Song Mingmei jumped in surprise and came over, waving her hand in front of Julian Song. Brother, are you drunk and talking nonsense? It's Ivy Jiang, not your little lover Jiang Qing. Julian Song suddenly stood up, and for some reason his eyes were especially bright. Her eyes were naturally amorous, but this redness gave them a somewhat incongruous sense of deep affection. Yes, it's Ivy Jiang. Song Mingmei could be considered to have finally reacted. She crossed her arms, unable to articulate whether she felt complicated or speechless. Bro, who would believe what you're saying? You made her deliver medicine to your girlfriend in a heavy rain, and publicly humiliated her by saying she was pestering you. I heard you even slapped Jiang Qing for her sake, and made things difficult for her company. Song Mingmei ticked off the things Julian Song had done, counting them on her fingers. With each thing she said, Julian Song's expression cracked a little. Finally, Song Mingmei clenched her fist. I'd believe you if you said you hated her. Judging by the way you're acting, are you getting drunk here because of her wedding? You're not going to tell me you like her, are you? But in the world of the wealthy, which Xiao doesn't have a few romantic entanglements. At least that way they wouldn't get married. Ivy Jiang still has room for redemption. As for Jiang Qing deliberately spreading rumors about Ivy Jiang in front of Julian Song, she was also speechless that Ivy Jiang had no guile and could be bullied like this. So she turned a blind eye. But that's all. She won't tell Julian Song. Ivy Jiang is married now. Cousin, let it go, you're just being possessive. Julian Song seemed to have made up his mind about something. She's angry with me. She has a cleanliness obsession and can't stand a stranger getting close to her, let alone getting married. She can only like me. Julian Song was half awake from his drunkenness. He suddenly rushed out of the private room. He returned all the way to Qiushui Villa. Like a madman he rushed upstairs. Open the room and enter the innermost small compartment. Here are piled up his childhood clutter. Julian Song didn't know why he came here. He only knew that he desperately wanted to refute Song Mingmei's words. But he was speechless. All he could think of was Ivy Zhang's disappointed gaze as she looked at him. And Song Mingmei's words. You like her, don't you? No, he doesn't like it. He just wanted to see her. Wanted to say something. But the nanny downstairs quickly caught up. Tell him that a box was received today. The shipping address is Ivy Zhang's apartment. I don't know how Julian Song reacted when he saw the item. At that time, I was caught off guard by Zhou Jingshi's sudden display. Zhou Jingshi moved his things into my apartment the day after the welcome banquet. But he didn't come back for 3 consecutive days. The Jiang family was able to recover thanks to the Zhou family's influence. I wasn't as busy as before either. On that day I was resting reading a book on the sofa in my pajamas. I fell asleep while reading. When I woke up I was in bed. I jumped in surprise and ran out without even putting on my shoes. But I smelled a sweet, savory aroma of cooking food. Zhou Jingshi was wearing my pink apron, flipping a steak with a spatula. I thought I must have hallucinated while sleeping. How did you get in? How did I get in? I don't even know which question to ask first. Zhou Jingshi also noticed me. He quickly turned off the fire and walked toward me. Suddenly he embraced me from the waist. The ground is cold. I felt as if I had been struck by electricity. The half of my body that touched Zhou Jingshi went numb. I instinctively wanted to jump down. But Zhou Jingshi was faster than me and placed me on the sofa. Gently, softly slipped onto my feet. The first time I saw Zhou Jing, I would never have imagined such a scene would appear before me. Besides, help, my heart. Just a little longer, the dish will be ready soon. Zhou Jingshi seemed not to notice my stunned expression. Instead, he raised his hand and gently touched my head. Like petting a puppy. I touched my own heart. It must be because he suddenly appeared at my house. I didn't have time to react. That's why I forgot to stay away from him. But I also have to admit, Zhou Jingshi is exceptional. He was also quite a gentleman. He always managed to create distance between us before I could react physically. I was caught off guard. He had the upper hand. Next, a scene full of domestic warmth unfolded before me. I suddenly realized how skilled Zhou Jingshi was in cooking. I sincerely praised his culinary skills. I also realized then that I had agreed to let him move in. It seemed I handed him the key without thinking. I'm a light sleeper. I didn't even notice when Zhou Jingshi carried me into the room. Unimaginable. Of course, I couldn't just ask directly. So I buried my head in food and pretended to be dead. Until Zhou Jingshi placed a row of diamond rings in front of me. Oh my god. Really a whole row. Giant, dazzling and multicolored. A diamond ring that looks incredibly expensive. What? Zhou Jingshi smiled at me. For the wedding. The rest were casually for fun. I opened my mouth several times. These diamond rings are all collectible, can you even wear them? Such a domineering statement. But then Zhou Jingshi told me. Diamond rings can actually be worn and played with. This is the Zhou family's property over the years. Someone will soon come to arrange the transfer. Is my private property. Is my parents' private property and also the dowry. A minute. I suddenly grabbed Zhou Jingshi's hand before he could reach for his belongings again. This is premarital property, Mr. Zhou. Are you misunderstanding something? The atmosphere became somewhat strange. I had intended to say more. But I saw Zhou Jingshi's gaze fall on our hands pressed closely together. I seemed to recoil as if burned. Yet Zhou Jingshi grabbed my hand in return. Said I don't plan to remarry. When I was young I read many romance novels. Among them are no shortage of overbearing bosses and innocent little flowers. The scene before me. Even with my self-awareness At this moment he finally couldn't hold back and spoke. Xian. Zhou Jingshi. We met somewhere before? Zhou Jingshi gave me an unexpected answer. I scare Yao Yao? He said. Don't worry, this is just the Zhou family tradition. This is the treatment a Zhou family mistress should receive. The Zhou family's rules also forbid the heir from remarrying. I was half convinced, half doubtful. Zhou Jingshi said it very formally. I breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time I felt something was off. As long as I marry you I can get these things, right? Zhou Jingshi's eyes flickered and he smiled. As long as you marry me. With this answer, no matter how grand the wedding that Zhou Jingshi plans next. I accepted it all relatively calmly. As life moved forward at a hectic pace, Song Mingmei suddenly came to find me. My best friend Xiao Xiao was helping me choose a wedding dress. Jiang, why don't you dare to see my cousin? Ever since I sent the things back to Julian Song, Julian Song has come to me repeatedly. But he can't get into the company. I've already taken care of things in the neighborhood. He can't see me. Grandma Song never mentioned him to me either. I hardly ever think of him anymore. Song Mingmei said. Jiang Qing is pregnant. Anyway, Julian Song has proposed. Might as well have the wedding and get the marriage certificate. But Julian Song suddenly regretted it. He said he wouldn't marry Jiang Qing. He also said that Jiang Qing was scheming against him. He clearly took precautions every time, but she still got pregnant. Julian wanted Song Yaojiang to get an abortion. And also wanted to break up. Jiang Qing actually came to me, trying to stir up trouble here. But she, like Julian Song, is on my blacklist now. So she tried to make a scene in front of Grandma Song. Unfortunately, Song Mingmei stopped her. Do we really need my grandma to personally handle this kind of problem? At first, Song Mingmei really thought Julian Song was truly in love with Jiang Qing. After all, the spectacle of his proposal was so grand. But I knew better. This Julian Song. 3 points of sincerity can express 10 points. But I didn't expect Jiang Qing to go so far. She actually found a reporter for herself and bought trending searches. Taking advantage of her head start, she portrayed herself as a victim online. Julian Song has become a tanan who abandons those he initially seduces. Jiang Qing is still a student and hasn't graduated yet. The secret affair between a wealthy CEO and an innocent college student is truly captivating. The Song family has been affected to some extent. I'm a little worried about Grandma Song, who knew she was happy to see it happen, and even said she was going to teach Julian Song a lesson. To open her eyes and see people for who they are. And by the way, they really suspended his card and position. Now he's just a man of leisure. This is all what Song Mingmei said. My brother is anxious to see you now, he's even come to me. I smiled, suddenly remembering when she wanted me to sabotage Julian Song's proposal. And to think I thought Jiang Qing had some tricks up her sleeve, that she could actually capture Julian Song's heart. But she ended up doing something so desperate, making me lose face. If I had known it would turn out like this, I would have rather had you marry my cousin. Grandma Song is such a good person. I don't know what's going on. The Song family's descendants all have abnormal brains. I bluntly exposed Song Mingmei. You're just doing it for yourself, no need to make it sound so good. Live streaming phone from that day, you put it there, right? The surveillance stopped only after they left. If Jiang Qing wanted to destroy the surveillance footage, she could have destroyed it all. It occurred to me later. That day when those people were blocking me, I vaguely saw Song Mingmei's figure. So what? I just wanted you to give up. I let out a cold laugh. Whether I give up or not is not a reason for you to hurt me. Song Mingmei, you and Julian Song are both very selfish. Song Mingmei suddenly became angry. Ivy Jiang, you should thank me. At least I made you give up on my cousin. Otherwise, how could you have hooked up with Zhou Jingshi again? President Zhou's impulsive act for a beauty has spread throughout High City. You must be very proud of yourself, aren't you? I frowned as I listened. Stop pretending, don't you? You were only locked up for 20-some hours. That day, everyone present was targeted and suppressed by Zhou Jingshi, and they couldn't survive in either Kyoto or Haicheng. Song Mingmei was also severely scolded by her parents. She was almost packed off to go abroad overnight. I really didn't know Zhou Jingshi had done so much. That day in the hospital room, I heard him calmly instructing his subordinates. It's just calling the police. Flying into a rage. Speaking of which, I've never seen him angry before. So what? I stand up. It's just that they were technically inferior in the business world and could only be defeated. As for me, I only feel that they are getting there just deserts. Not enough. I never saw Song Mingmei again. But Julian Song completely blocked the entrance of the company building. He made quite a scene. He even threatened to hit the security guards if he couldn't see me, lest Grandma Song really get angry. I still met him. I hadn't seen Julian Song for days and he hadn't even shaved. I recognized the box he was holding at a glance. It's the thing I mailed back to him. Julian Song's clothes were crumpled and his eyes were unfocused. He looked a mess. I watched him through a glass window. Tell him that if he dares to come near me, I will call the police immediately. This time, Julian Song didn't fly into a rage out of humiliation. He just stared at me intently. Song Mingmei said I like you. I raised my eyebrows as if I had heard a joke. She might be right. Julian Song continued. Ivy Jiang, I like you. He clenched his fist as if he really couldn't wait to cross the glass and embrace me. Looking at me like he would look at a lover. If I hadn't seen all sides of him, perhaps, still get fooled. But now, I just find it funny. What do you like about me? Julian Song didn't expect me to retort and was stunned for a moment. But he quickly spoke. We grew up together. Besides Grandma, you are the most important person to me. I used to say I was annoyed with you because I didn't want you to control me too much. I never thought about marrying anyone other than you. I sneered. I just feel that before marrying me, before becoming a husband, having only been with me is a loss, isn't it? That was brutally honest to the point of being offensive. Julian Song's face turned pale. I knew I had hit the mark and continued. Julian Song, are you having a mental breakdown? The news of Jiang Qing having an abortion for you is still on the front page headlines. What kind of love scene are you acting out for me? Julian Song slammed hard on the glass. The glass shook, making a loud noise. I told you I was just playing around with her. Ivy Jiang, why don't you believe me? I believe you, I said. Julian Song was trembling. Immediately following was a look of panic, anxiety, guilt, and anger on his face. I believe you're just playing around. Not only that, I know you were just playing around with every one of your previous partners. I would even believe you if you said you really wanted to marry me. With each sentence I spoke, Julian Song's face grew paler. Finally, so I know just how disgusting you are. What makes you think I'll just stay put and wait for you? Julian Song, do you really think you're an emperor with 3 wives and 4 concubines and an empress by your side? I'm not the most important thing to you, but the only one who has been with you since childhood. You just believe that I'm someone who won't leave you. Spanning a decade of youth. That boy who made my heart flutter. That face with a soft light filter. Finally dimmed completely. What I regret is that runaway boy. So you protect me and see me as very important. But later you had other friends and other girls admired you. More and more people were by your side. But I have seen you at your loneliest and most pathetic. Your heart was swelling, so I became your nominal younger sister. And you even said you hated me. You were just jealous of me because Grandma liked me. Don't understand that Grandma was initially good to me because she loved you. Can't see it, you only care about yourself. You're fickle, always wanting more than you have. That I've realized I don't like you anymore, you're putting on an act. Julian Song, you are a selfish person to the core. You deserve to be unloved. That day Julian Song walked away with a pale face. He never came back to cause trouble again. Xiao Xiao praised me for my excellent scolding. Time marches on. The wedding arrived as scheduled. During this time Zhou Jingshi and I got along very well. I also told him about Julian Song. Of course I didn't go into detail. He just gazed at me and said, Julian Song will not bother me again. I know he is a very cultivated man. Although we live together, we don't sleep in the same room. But both tacitly return home on time every day. Zhou Jingshi is really amazing. Seems like he knows how to cook all the delicious dishes in the world. Every single one is my favorite. He would ask for my permission before entering my study. And ask me to recommend a book to him. He would also recommend books to me. Only then did I realize how similar our interests and hobbies were. When chatting with him, I always unconsciously lost track of time. When the time came, he would politely leave. This way of getting along is really comfortable for me, who is getting to know a stranger. It's really comfortable. I didn't tell Zhou Jingshi. He said he wasn't planning on a second marriage. Actually, I don't either. But before, I was just tired of the marriage and felt it was okay to just treat each other with courtesy. After all, I really don't dislike Zhou Jingshi. That day I asked him if we had met somewhere before. He denied it. But I always felt he was lying. Even if it's the Zhou family tradition. Zhou Jingshi is also excessively nice to me. Those words Song Mingmei said further solidified my thoughts. It's just that he doesn't want to talk about it and I won't press him. After spending these days together, I have to admit it. He is almost a perfect partner. I told my mom my thoughts. But my mom had a complicated look on her face. This kid, he's quite the actor. Huh. Oh Oh no, mom means this kid, he's very caring. Later she secretly made a phone call. Her expression was also very strange. That night when I got back, Zhou Jingshi was a little earlier than me. That was a week before the wedding. I don't know if it was because the food was too delicious, or the sudden power outage that night. We drank some red wine, and leaned back on the sofa to chat for a while. Woke up the next day. I was lying in Zhou Jingshi's arms. Don't overthink it, nothing happened. I just held him and slept for a while. It was a little awkward for both of us. It was more awkward for me. Zhou Jingshi just rushed into the bathroom for a shower. Then he made me breakfast and hurried off to work. He left his clothes and things in my room. The next day, he acted as if nothing had happened. Continued into my room. Shower, get into bed, close my eyes. By the time I finished showering and came out, you were already sound asleep. I was shocked. But Zhou Jing was sleeping on the other side. He seemed very tired and I didn't wake him when I came out. I thought about it. I got into bed too. Forget it. We're getting married anyway. Later. It seems we've reached some unspoken agreement. Even though we're not doing anything. Strangely, every time I wake up, I'm in Zhou Jingshi's arms. This is just insane. I've never been this comfortable, not even in my best friend's bed. I actually slept so soundly that I completely forgot there was a man next to me. Zhou Jingshi, on the other hand, was very calm. Every morning he would take a shower and then make breakfast. Until the night before the wedding. I went back to my parents' home and Xiao Xiao came along as my bridesmaid. Pfft. You actually believe that a man can hold his newlywed wife without getting aroused? Xiao Xiao scolded me for being slow on the uptake. He must have been plotting against you for a long time, like slowly boiling a frog until it's cooked. I've actually had that thought before. But every time I tried to test Zhou Jing, I was rebuffed. Xiao Xiao, as if not believing it, pulled me to find evidence. I put on makeup while watching her scour through my moments from childhood, searching for all traces of me. Strange, there really aren't any. Before I knew about the engagement, I had only heard Zhou Jingshi's name from others. My parents only said they watched Zhou Jingshi inherit the Zhou family's business. Found it. Xiao Xiao suddenly jumped up. Zhou Jingshi returned to China at the age of 16. After returning to China, he suddenly rose to prominence in Kyoto. He took control of the entire Zhou family in 10 years. However, when he first returned to China, it seems he wasn't called Zhou Jingshi. I took one look and was amused by Xiao Xiao. Where did you dig up this gossip from? You don't understand, sometimes gossip is the real news. How much of the secrets of wealthy families that can be made public has been embellished? After rummaging through a pile of text for ages, Xiao Xiao finally found the key point. It says here that he didn't used to be surnamed Zhou. It seems he was called Xie Kai. I murmured the name. Sounded more and more familiar. Until Xiao Xiao slapped her thigh. I remember. You ever given money to a little beggar before? 1,000 at a time for about half a year. Account holder of that account. Called Xie Kai. The third year of junior high school. It was the year Julian Song began to change his attitude toward me. He started not waiting for me to go home together. And I'm not allowed to talk to him too much at school either. At that time, Xiao Xiao's family moved to a new house, and we were no longer in the same direction. Every afternoon I had to go home alone. I wore a mask every time and tried to walk in places with fewer people. Until one day, I was stopped in an alley and asked for protection money. At that time I was soft-tempered and scared. So I took out all my pocket money. A full 500 yuan. In those days, 500 yuan was really a lot of money. They didn't know my family was so well off. I usually didn't even use 100 yuan bills. So in the end they felt guilty after snatching just one and ran away. But they didn't get far. I was stopped again. The boy was carrying a woven bag. When I was pinned against the wall, the bottles in the woven bag made a crisp gurgling sound. His hair was long and the clothes he wore looked like they were from a bygone era. Very dirty and tattered. Me the money. His head was lowered very low with only his eyes visible, also looking down. His voice was also trembling slightly. But when I actually handed the money over, he suddenly let go of me, grabbed his woven bag and ran. He ran so fast. They don't even realize they've dropped something. It was a medical record wrapped in a clear plastic bag. Inside was a medical record and a receipt for the refund account. Actually, I had seen that boy a long time ago. He doesn't seem to go to school. Occasionally I see him scavenging through trash cans across the street. People often make fun of him. At that time, Julian Song hadn't changed his attitude towards me yet. Whenever I saw him he would always pull me away. Xiao Xiao was right. I did transfer money to that account. My mom wanted to call the police when she found out I was being blackmailed. He went out in a fury then returned in silence. He found out about the Shanyan. Xie Kai was a supported household from the neighboring street. It was said that he had lost his mother early, and his father had been suffering from serious illness for years. Dialysis costs 30,000 yuan per session. I suddenly remembered the red envelopes my parents gave me during Chinese New Year. Each one contained 100,000 yuan. When I brought up my idea with my mother, my mom hesitated a bit. She originally wanted to use the foundation. But I was young and rebellious back then, insisting on using my own allowance. My parents also sponsor children in impoverished mountainous areas every year. I want to be like them, doing what I can. My parents praised me for being sensible and agreed. So I started to economize. I stopped buying clothes and desserts altogether. I stopped going to that handicraft workshop Xiao Xiao always dragged me to. At first I thought it was just 30,000. But I didn't expect that dialysis needs to be done every week. And the expensive medicine. I used all my money. I kept going like this for more than half a year, refusing any help from my parents. At that time I didn't notice the name Xie Kai. That account was for me. It was just an act of heroism. Until half a year later my mother suddenly mentioned it in passing. She said that the family member was still seriously ill and had not recovered. Originally Madame Jiang intended to sponsor Xie Kai. But since his father passed away, Xie Kai has also disappeared. For me, Zhou Jingshi was actually Xie Kai? I suddenly came back to my senses. Go to bed early, tomorrow is the wedding. Xiao Xiao thought it was utterly ridiculous. It's definitely just a rumor, this is too unreliable. Zhou Jingshi just came back from abroad, how could he be that beggar? Actually, I was also dazed. Arrived at the wedding venue. All the prominent figures from Kyoto had come. Zhou Jingshi covered the entire Haiqing building with our wedding photos. Grandma Song and my parents were seated in the main positions. It seemed like the whole world was celebrating us. Grandma Song also cried. Holding my hand he called me grandson Zhou Jingshi, and slipped the family heirloom bracelet onto my wrist. Grandma has already accepted Xiao Zhou as her godson. This gift was destined to be yours. Zhou Jingshi looked at me gently and she called Grandma. I noticed that only family and close friends came to Zhou Jingshi's side. No relatives were present. I was about to ask but my eyes suddenly felt a little warm. What's wrong? Zhou Jingshi looked at me with concern. Did you not sleep well? I saw the dark circles under his eyes that couldn't be hidden, and I couldn't help but smile through my tears. I don't know who didn't sleep well. When exchanging the wedding rings, Zhou Jingshi opened the box and suddenly froze. I gently took his hand, seeing shock and emotion in his eyes. Are the rings I personally chose? Think this is more meaningful than fancy gems. I actually prepared this pair of rings quite a long time ago. At first I thought those gems were too extravagant,